Dear sisters and brothers in humanity, 9 years ago, at the age of 23, I left my home country, France, to embark on a several-month world travel. My core goal was to leave the Western cocoon and confront myself to the reality of the lives of the people around the world. And I did. I've seen a dead old man lying naked in the middle of a mountain of rubbish and waste in Calcutta. I've been solicited by hundreds of beggars, many of whom were children. Each time, my heart ached and cried. So even though I am a young, white, Protestant, French, middle-class male, I'm not addressing you out of theory this morning. I know the human price of a third of the world's food getting lost or wasted. Today, I work with Green Faith. As part of this 25-year-old interfaith organization, I know I contribute to making a difference. With thousands of people of diverse faith traditions, we envision a world transformed in which religious and spiritual communities everywhere generate a moral awakening to the sacredness of the earth and the dignity of all people. Interfaith dialogue is our daily bread. I can testify to the fact that food loss and waste is indeed an ethical issue shared by all traditions. All provide a clear moral compass, guiding the faithful to be mindful of how much we consume, to care about food that might be left over, and to commit to reduce hunger and malnutrition. We just heard several Christians and a rabbi speak. I would like to broaden the circle even more and share glimpses of the wealth and depth of other traditions as well. In Islam, a hadith states that Anas, may Allah be pleased with him, reported, whenever Messenger of Allah ate food, he would lick his 3 fingers and say, if any one of you drops a morsel of food, he should remove any dirt that may have stuck on it and then eat it, and should not leave it for Satan. He also commanded us that we should clean the pot, saying, you do not know in which part of your food the blessing lies. In Buddhism, followers of the Zen tradition and many others practice oryoki, an elaborate meal ceremony which literally means taking just the right amount of food. The practice of oryoki brings mindfulness to how one eats. In Hinduism, it is taught that restraining consumption and simplicity in living represent a path towards moksha, liberation, which treats the earth with respect. A well-known Hindu teaching, Taintyaken Bunjita, has been translated, take what you need for your sustenance without a sense of entitlement or ownership. Theology and spirituality, though, only bloom as they are embodied in people's attitudes and practices. Faith organizations with whom we partner are already at work. Since 2012, the Buddhist Tzu Chi Foundation has been promoting the 80 by 20 lifestyle, inviting people to combat food waste by eating only until they are 80% full and use the other 20% to help others. A striking implementation took place at a kindergarten in Malaysia, where a teacher encouraged students to save one of the 3 cookies they were given each day. Students agreed and delivered the collected cookies to low-income families. This initiative reminds us that about half the world's schools are managed by faith-based organizations. Here we have the first lead for enhanced collaboration. FBOs that manage schools represent powerful allies to promote a healthy, just, and sustainable use of food at an age when behaviors are often shaped for a lifetime. The Environment and Natural Resources body of the Indonesian Council of Ulamas has developed an excess food sharing program. Instead of being wasted, unsold or unused food is gathered from restaurants, hotels, cafes, canteens, and distributed to people in need. In Jakarta, in the last 2.5 months, 10 volunteers collected excess food from 11 donors, gathering enough to prepare 1,650 food packs, which were distributed to about 80 people in need. This story proves that reducing food waste and loss and addressing the impacts of poverty can go together. We find here a second lead. Innovative cross-issues partnerships can be imagined between FBOs, food-producing companies, and social organizations. In 2018, the Global Catholic Climate Movement held a St. Francis Sunday in Poland. A St. Francis pledge to reduce food waste was signed by high-level religious leaders, the Polish Minister of Agriculture, the President of UNFCCC COP24, and parishioners around the country. 21 media outlets covered the events, reaching an audience of over 2 million Poles. This final case study shows how wide an audience faith leaders and religious institutions can reach. And that is my third lead. Through high-level leaders, there's a great potential for advocacy with people in power and influence over a wide audience. At the beginning of my contribution, I took the time to quote sacred scriptures. Being rooted is vital, for it reminds us of the specific strength of religions and spiritualities among agents of change. We are vehicles of worldviews, beliefs, and values, which often determine attitudes and behaviors. We're not speaking of millions of people here, but actually of over 8 out of 10 persons on this planet. But let's be honest, while religions represent a formidable potential for change, their action has not been brought up to scale. At Green Faith, we would like this to change, and we come to the table with a concrete idea. In 2017, we planted a seed which is growing into a beautiful plant, Living the Change. It's a global multi-faith initiative which accompanies people on the journey of changing their lifestyle to address the climate emergency. Green Faith is the organizing partner. Implementing partners are the Hindu Bhumi Project, the World Council of Churches, the Global Muslim Climate Movement, the Global Catholic Climate Movement, the World Evangelical Alliance, and several others. We focus on the areas which have the biggest impact: transport, diet, and home energy use. In the diet area, we are promoting the reduction of food waste at home by 50%. We believe it is smart to take the fight about climate change as an entry door, for it has become a top issue of concern worldwide, especially among young people. In 2020, we are exploring the development of resources in multiple languages to support people of diverse faith in their communities to organize what we could call a food waste weekend. On this weekend, they would offer teachings to educate the members about the moral imperative of ending food waste. We would provide practical tips about how to do this. We would invite the religious institutions, communities, and their members to make a pledge to reduce or eliminate food waste. This would be the first time a global multi-faith community would come together to focus on this vital issue. We have the relationships and the ability to make this happen, and would welcome the chance to explore this with you if you find it of interest. Will you join our global multi-faith coalition and make Living the Change bloom? Thank you for your attention.